What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite local neighborhood hillbilly hellraiser, Moonshine. Back with another Moonshine talking. This is a double dose, double shot, if you will, of Moonshine, if you will, baby. And anyhow, I'm just being a little goofy. I just got back from the Orpheum. I went to go see Gatecreeper tonight. They're on tour, supporting their Dark Superstition album that just came out a couple months back. I figured I'd talk about it. It was a pretty good show. Probably show in all probably ran about 3 hours roughly. It was Gatecreeper headlining. They had Frozen Soul as a feature act, and they had Worm opening up the show. It was killer. Got there, linked up with my buddy Steve, who he's a huge Worm fan. He loves them. He's seen them, I think, like 4 or 5 times, something like that. And he didn't even know that they were playing tonight. And I hit him up last week and asked him if he was going, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't even know they were playing. Yeah, hell yeah, I'll see you there." He wasn't real familiar with Gatecreeper, knew nothing about Frozen Soul, but he was down to go see Worm. So yeah, I got there, met up with him. It was hot as balls in the place. He was up at the front of the stage, and we were hanging out. We got chatting, catching up because we used to work together, and he left, but we still kept in touch. And we've gone to a few shows together. We went to go see Electric Wizard at midnight. Saw Crowbar and Spirit Adrift, and I forget who else played that night. And then I thought that he went with me and a couple other buddies to go see Cannibal Corpse one time, but he didn't go with us. There was a couple other people. But anyhow, I'm just babbling. So we were chatting, and I'm meeting this really nice couple. The names were Jeff and Grace. Jeff was super knowledgeable. I think he was actually quizzing Steve on some stuff there about, because Steve's more into like progressive. He likes Entheos, if you're familiar with them. His favorite band's Animals as Leaders, and so he's more into progressive type stuff. And but he also seems to like some of the doomier stuff, like Worm and stuff like that. Likes Crowbar. Listens to them periodically, but loves going to see them, and except for all the hardcore moshing and stuff like that. But yeah, so show starts. Worm comes out. They've got a great presence, great aesthetics, very theatrical, all wearing druid cloaks and stuff like that. And they go into their set, and they probably played for like a half hour, maybe, I would say half an hour, 40 minutes, give or take. And honestly, I think they stole the show right out of the gate. I mean, they were killer. Their lead guitar player, just sick leads the whole night. Lots of groove, heavy doomy riffs. The singer had a great presence. He was almost kind of like a, vampire, but I'm trying to like a almost like a Lestat kind of look to him. He really he fit in. Like, their presentation really kind of sold it as far as everything that they did. So they were killer. I was thinking, oh, they're gonna be hard to. It's gonna be hard to follow them. And then Frozen Soul came out, and I was laughing because we were talking to the couple that we met, and I was talking about how I was like, yeah, I didn't realize how divisive of a band that this band is. Like, people either love them or hate them. And I saw them recently playing. They opened up for Amon Amarth and Cannibal Corpse, and Obituary, and they were good. And again, they came out. They played for probably maybe a little under an hour, I'd say, and they're decent, and they got the crowd pumped. Lots of pits, lots of circle pits. They got people encouraging people to stage dive, all that sort of thing. And I'm not obviously, if you follow my channel, you know my story, you know, you know my that I got the bionic neck, so I don't really get into moshing and stage diving and all that. I try to steer clear of that. And it was kind of funny because as the pits were starting to form and people were starting to bang into each other and whatnot, and my buddy Steven, he was he's a pretty thick dude, so he was pushing people, you kind of keeping them away and all that sort of stuff. And I was trying to like get back to a safe distance away from the pit, and I'm wearing this gosh damn thing, and I just turned to this woman that was standing next to me. I said, "Please, please don't impale yourselves on me, and literally don't die by my hand if you don't mind. You know, I'd like to not see anyone get hurt." So there was a piece of me that was that was rethinking the error of my ways of wearing this. But anyhow, I thought it was appropriate. I mean, death metal show and whatnot. I was really into it. A lot of people there really seemed to be there to see them in particular, and it was good. But honestly, they're really not my cup of tea. They're not. They don't really do it for me as far as band. I can see where people get into them, but I gotta say I've seen them twice now, and their stuff just for me, my taste, they're a little bit on the repetitive side, and that's coming from the stoner rock doom guy. I guess so. Take that for what it's worth. But again, as I always say, music is subjective. It's all opinion. So nobody has to lose their minds over it or anything like that. You know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that you don't have to like it, or you can tell me to go suck eggs or suck a railroad spike or whatever the hell you want. But yeah, so I mean, they were good for what they are, and they obviously a lot of people were there to see them because they got done, and it really seemed like the crowd thinned out. I mean, there was people that. What I noticed was there was a lot of people there, especially females. It seemed like they were there. A lot of goth chicks, goth looking chicks, and metal chicks that seemed like they were there to see Worm. And then you had a lot of like the crossover metalcore, hardcore fan base, crowd that seemed like they were there to see Frozen Soul, and then Gatecreeper come out, and they killed it. They were awesome. You know, high energy, very catchy. You know. A lot of the stuff off Dark Superstitions is super hooky, very melodic, uh, real easy to either tap your toe, bang your head, whatever the case might be, you know, bang your fist. And it was good. I mean, they played a lot of stuff off the new album, played some of their older stuff that I'm not quite familiar with, still kind of familiarizing myself with the band, and just high energy. The crowd, there it was a decent crowd still, but I want to say that they started thinning out after Frozen Soul was done. And yeah, but the people that stayed, and it wasn't like it was like a, it was like a boom scare or anything. Like the place didn't empty or anything like that. But the people who did stick around or weren't out at the patio area getting a beer, getting fresh air, whatnot, they were thoroughly and highly entertained. As was I. My main thing is, I would say the only drawback, there were two drawbacks tonight to the whole show. One was the music that the sound guy was playing in between sets. That's country music, lots of hip hop. There's nothing wrong with hip hop. I like a lot of '90s hip hop, like Wu Tang and Cypress Hill, uh, things of that nature. But some of the stuff they were playing, I guess they were, again, like the last time I went, they were playing 3 6 Mafia, and they were playing that again, which I guess if you're, I guess if you're with a metal crowd, and excuse me, and you think that well, just because it has 666 in the name or 3 6, everybody's going to be into it. That couldn't be further from the truth. Although you could see a lot of people like dancing and shaking their butts and whatnot, but it's just not my thing. And then there was some group that Steven was aware of, some horrorcore group or something or other. He was telling me about. I can't remember the names, but he was really getting into that. But yeah, for the most part, all the hip hop and the country, I didn't quite get that. I mean, this is a death metal show, and that's what you're playing between sets. Seemed kind of out of place. It just didn't seem like it fit, and that seems to be a common theme in a lot of places. You hear a lot more people talking about that. And then the other thing is just, maybe it's just me turning into an old man, shaking his fists at the clouds and all that sort of stuff. But some of the pit stuff, it gets a little ridiculous. Like I was watching, these two kids were doing leapfrog in the pit. I saw a few push-ups in the pit and just some of the goofy stuff. But other than that, I can't really say too much. I try to steer as far away from the pit as I can and try not to get too involved and just go enjoy the show, take a few clips, and just have a good time and listen to music. That's what I go for. I don't go there to get into fisticuffs and battles with people, and it just sometimes it gets a little distracting. So show ended. Gatecreeper got up the stage. They're real friendly with the crowd, hung out, shaking hands and kissing babies and all that sort of thing. I was hanging out by the merch table. I was gonna buy something, but then it was getting to the point where it was too much to just hang around and wait. So I saw the couple that we ran into earlier in the day, Jeff and Grace, and I said goodnight to them. They were apparently driving 2 hours. I think they were heading back to. They said they were from Gainesville. They were living there. Came down here to see the show, and so I wished them well, and then they were like, "Oh, drive safe." I was like, "Yeah, don't worry about me. You drive safe. I live in the neighborhood, so I'm not worrying about me." But yeah, so that was that. So that was the show. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I had a blast. Um, and that's pretty much it. So as far as a review would go, or just like a recap of the show, it was killer. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I would say Worm stole the show. Gatecreeper did a phenomenal job headlining, and Frozen Soul for what they are. They were good. You know, they were a decent act. But just again, not my favorite. Not something that I'm gonna go seek out or search for. Uh, but yeah, so was that. As far as any other shows I got coming up that I'm gonna go to next Friday, I was supposed to go see Goat Horror. I can't. Actually the whole weekend because Goat is playing in Orlando with Vitriol and I want to. I almost want to say Necrofire, but don't quote me on that. And then the next night in Orlando at another club, Bewitcher, Skeletal Remains, and I can't think of what the other band is that's opening the show. They're playing, but I can't go to it. I have to go out of town. I'm gonna I'm going home, which is cool. You know, it's gonna be cool to see my family and all. But the reason that I'm going home is really not a reason that anybody likes going anywhere for any. The reasons, and you probably figure out why I'm going home without getting all cloak and daggery, but in secretive and whatnot. But the reason I'm going home, I'm not really looking forward to. But at the same time, I get to see my family. Haven't seen them in about a year. I try to get home around this time this year, but it's just one of those things where I was planning on putting it off for a little while and maybe hitting them up, but then this came up, so you know, gotta go home, gotta go see my family, gotta go spend time with my family. So it'd be cool to see them. So I'm gonna miss out on Goat Horror and Bewitcher. I was gonna take a couple nights off of work and go do that, but instead I'm taking a couple nights off of work and going home to spend time with my family. So either way, it's cool, you know, not the worst thing in the world. And then but then the next thing I'm doing, next show I'm gonna go to is October 9th. I'm seeing High on Fire. And then that same week, October 11th, I'm gonna see Deicide and Christian. And that's gonna be a killer show. I'm really looking forward to that. It's the last show on Deicide's Banished by Sin tour. They're ending in Tampa, of course, so that'll be killer. Never seen Christian before, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, really excited. And then, not to give away too much about my life, but then the next day is my birthday, so that's my birthday present to myself. Is I'm gonna go see Deicide. Haven't seen him in a while, so really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's that. And by the way, I should have probably done this at the beginning of the video, but I do have to issue a correction. If anybody saw my video with the God to Throne review, I mentioned towards the end of the review that I'm doing a live stream this Saturday at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would technically be Sunday morning. It's 1 a.m. Sunday morning Eastern Standard Time, and I'm doing it with Scott from No Solution and Trevor Fumes of Hatred. We're gonna do like a wrestling thing. We're gonna talk some wrestling. Probably bring up some other stuff, you know, whatever comes to mind. But yeah, I just wanted to issue a correction because I'm a dumbass and I get numbers jumbled in my head sometimes. So it's 1 a.m. as opposed to 2 a.m. Sunday morning. And yes, that's that. So hope everyone has a good one. Hope you enjoyed your double shot of moonshine, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.